What's up, YouTube? I'm Mike, and today what I'm talking about is my newest experiment, Tren as a pre-work drug. I know a lot of people, some people use Trenbolone suspension as a pre-workout drug because it is so rapidly acting. I think you could probably use Tren Ace as a pre-workout drug depending on how you dosed it, because it also comes on very rapidly. Unfortunately, my Tren Ace that was supposed to be here a month ago got lost in the mail, so I'm still waiting on my reship to arrive. What I've noticed is that this week has been, as I said in the previous video, really kicked my ass. You know, I'm used to sleeping until, early, mid-morning, and having to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and go to work in an hour's worth of traffic and then sit in this very excruciatingly boring training makes it hard to keep your eyes open. And so I've attempted multiple things to try to get through some of these long days. Hopefully we're coming to the end of that, but I still have at least 2 more days in the office and then some ride-alongs that really are just not, they don't psychologically fit well with me. I'm a lone wolf. Like, I spent 20 years in the professional world working alone. I have never had to depend on anybody. You know, like, I had to interact with people at the office, but I didn't have people around me all day long. I was either working from home or on the road visiting customers, where I had total control of how long I was ever in a given location. And so suddenly being trapped in an office all day long just makes for a very long day. So what I've decided to do to try to offset some of the misery this week is exactly the opposite thing that probably anybody should do. I've decided to use Trenbolone as a pre-work drug and increase my Trenbolone dose a bit to try to help stave off the effects of the loss of sleep. This is, nothing that I would actually recommend anyone do, but one of the side effects that I always experience when I raise my Trenbolone dose is that it's hard for me to sleep at night. I tend to be able to function on far less sleep, and I tend to be much more amped and motivated and driven throughout the day. So typically what happens to me is when I don't get enough sleep, it really negatively affects my personality. Like, I don't have the same confidence and aggression and drive. I kind of become a zombie and check out. I'm very distant and I become kind of a shell of a man when I'm not well rested. The Tren seems to prevent this effect. So the Tren seems to give me the same amount of energy and drive and confidence and aggression that I would get from, say, 9 hours of sleep, and I can usually get that even if I'm only sleeping 5 or 6 hours a night. Obviously, this has long-term psychological effects. I've said plenty of times in the past that in my estimation, the vast majority of Tren paranoia comes from not the Trenbolone itself, but from the lack of sleep that it can induce. So in a situation where I'm already struggling to get 7 hours of sleep, my hope is that if I increase my Trenbolone dose a little, not a lot, we're talking about going up to like 125 milligrams per week, which is what I increased my dose to today, that it will allow me to function better on the reduced amount of sleep that I'm probably going to get for at least this next week. Usually 100 milligrams is about the ceiling for me. That's about the max that I can take before I start to have psychological effects. At 125, I start to get the increased irritation and aggression, agitation, and it starts to more negatively affect my sleep. So the problem is that for the vast majority of the time I've been running Trenbolone, when I say that it's negatively affecting my sleep, that's me well rested. So like if I slept 9 hours the day before, and then I'm taking 200 milligrams of Tren, it can be very hard for me to get to sleep at a reasonable hour. So what happens is my schedule starts to rotate. So I want to sleep 8 to 9 hours every day, but if I'm awake, whatever the math is, you have to be to bed. If you're going to sleep for 9 hours, you can only be awake for 15. Well, the problem is on a high dose of Tren, I can easily stay awake for, say, 17 or 18 hours before I feel the need to sleep. So that's not enough hours in the day. So what happens is you intend to go to bed at midnight, but you don't actually go to bed till 2. Then you sleep 9 hours. Then you get up and you stay awake for 17 hours, and then you sleep 9 hours, and so your schedule just slowly starts to rotate round and round and round because you're staying, you can't fit it all into a 24-hour day. So my objective here is, since I'm being forced to not get the 9 hours that I need, I'm hoping that an increase in the amount of tren that I'm taking will allow me to function better on the lesser amount of sleep while still being able to go to sleep because I'm still really tired. I've only had 7 hours of sleep, and so I'm hoping to be able to go to sleep at the scheduled time, sleep my full 7 hours, but get up feeling well rested rather than be on the cyclical rotating clock that occurs when I get a full 8 to 9 hours of sleep. That's the objective. Now, is it going to work? Probably not. But we're going to see what happens. If nothing else, it gives me an excuse to increase my Trenbolone dose again, which is my favorite thing in the world. I love to come up on tren. And so I feel like at a bare minimum, this added little come up stage will hopefully compensate for my lack of personality due to lack of sleep. I suspect I'll only run this for a short period of time, but it's also allowing me to offset the reduction in some other hormones. So as I said in my previous video, I took 500 milligrams of Primo in my cycle because I'm not training hard. Well, I haven't trained at all in over a week now. And it didn't make sense to me to continue running 2 grams of gear while not being able to dedicate the calories and the training and all that. Like that, to me, you know, I don't really feel like the gear is stressing my body that much, but there's a point where it's a little out of control. Like it doesn't really make sense to continue, you know, pinning 2 grams while not going to the gym at all. Obviously, the higher androgen dose is going to make it a lot easier for me to hold on to the tissue that I have, minus the workouts and minus the nutrition. But again, that's really what Trenbolone is king at doing. So I'm going to take the Primo out, which was not really doing me any favors, increase the Trenbolone dose a little, see if that can recreate the come-up effect so that I can have the ability to function a little bit better, a little bit more energetically on the lesser amount of sleep that I'm likely to get for probably the next week. Hopefully, by the end of this week, Thursday, Friday time, I will be cut loose from any portion of this training and can start living my own schedule again. Of course, that comes with the caveat that even if I'm done with training by Wednesday, we still have to be in the office every Friday at like 8:30 in the morning, which is another new thing that they've employed. So that's also going to be a change for me. Usually, in my previous position, I was never required to go to the office except for like a meeting, you know, that would last an hour. Whereas here, you're basically spending every single Friday from about 8:30 until say 2 o'clock in the office for programmed things that are going on. So I'm never really going to be able to live purely on my schedule, which what I would like to do is be able to wake up at 8:30 to start my day. There's always going to be at least one day a week where I'm going to be operating with less than ideal amount of sleep. So we'll have to see how that goes. It's far from ideal, but it's better than, you know, at my previous position for the longest time. We had Monday morning meetings that started at 7:30, and that was a total wrap on the day for me. So every single Monday, actually I guess it was every other Monday, I would go to that meeting, come home, go right back to bed because I would have had 5.5 hours of sleep from the night before. It was totally impossible for me to function. So what we're going to try this week, because I need something to experiment. If I'm not experimenting with something, then I start to lose interest and stagnate. We're going to try a little bit more tren as a pre-work drug to see if that helps me get through the day better and hopefully start getting some workouts in. I've been panicking because I've been out of the gym for 10 days now. But in all reality, as hard as I was hitting it before, for as long as I was, I'm sure my body could use the break. I've had a couple people say, dude, don't sweat the 10 days. It's nothing. Your body's recovering. And the second you get back in the gym, it will just snap back. And that has, in fact, always been my experience. So sometimes these forced breaks are actually good because I tend to train excessively. And so we'll see how it goes. So yeah, there you have it. I wanted to release at least some more content this week. I had planned on doing a review video of my car. This is like the third time I've shot this video, so I don't remember if I said this or not. I recently took delivery of a BMW M240i that is an absolute rocket ship, and we purchased my wife last night or yesterday evening a BMW X3 in carbon black metallic that she is madly in love with. So I think what I might do is do one video covering both of the cars, just a little walk around, talk about our experience with that. Again, it's just something else to do for content. I got my my vent mount out of my old truck. I'm hoping that my camera will mount in such a way on the inside of my BMW that I can shoot content on the road. I hope eventually I'll figure out how to get that done, because that's probably going to be the best way for me to make content in the coming weeks and months. So there you have it, just another little update. Again, appreciate everybody's support and well wishes on the new job. It's definitely a good thing. It's what my family needs, because we were obviously not going to be able to live a life of luxury forever. But it has been a lot harder trying to get back into the swing of things than I had expected. And so I've been a crybaby all week. And to some degree, so is my wife. And so we're learning to live again. But there you have it. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.